So update 1.27.1 has now reached the EU server. For those of you that don't know, Asia and NA get it a day earlier than EU. I don't really know why this occurs, but that's just how it is. But now that it has reached all servers, I'm going to be going through everything you need to know about the update so you can be well informed without having to sift through all of the articles and information through the website. The first thing, we have the double-barreled British heavy tanks. Now, these look a little bit too good in certain aspects. For those of you that don't know, they have two separate fire modes. It's not like the 703-2 or any other double-barreled tank. It's more like a mode switch. So you'd have to enter that mode and then you can only fire in double-barrel mode. And you have to have two shells in the guns, on both guns, to actually even fire the single shotgun. That means that when you are at the start of the battle and you're in the single shot mode, you're going to have to load both shells before you can just fire once. Which means that intuition is actually going to be very, very important on these vehicles, because you can't just quickly say, okay, well, I fired this shell and then it's going to empty it and then I'm going to load AP for the next shell. It won't work like that. It will have to cycle through both shells and then it's going to reload full like 19 seconds or whatever it is for one shell. So intuition, very important if you are going to be going down this. Now, I'm not going to go into full details about this because I'm going to be doing videos on each one of these. So don't worry too much about this. But just so you know, it starts from tier 7 and in game, that's going to be going off the Churchill 7. So as you can see here, you go all the way down the Churchills and then you go to the chopper. So yes, you're going to have to go and grind down the Churchill 1 and the Churchill 7 to then get the chopper, which is just a lovely experience, isn't it? From the chopper, you then lead on to the conceiver, and then the contender, and then the can opener. So these naming schemes are just... I don't even know. But as I said, I'm going to be going into a video for each one of these, so stay tuned for that. Now, moving into vehicle rebalancing. And there is a fair few things that are going on here. Now, the vast majority of the stuff that's actually going to happen with the vehicle rebalancing is mainly actually just adjusting the stock grinds for the different lines that are affected. So the E100, the Type 71 and the M5Y have all been buffed in this patch. And accordingly, the rest of the line has been made nicer to grind as well. The E100 has had, I won't lie to you, a buff that I don't really think it needed. Now, this is all for the 12.8 centimeter gun. So the small gun on the E100. Dispersion got buffed, which is fine. Much needed. Make it a little bit more accurate. Fine. Armor penetration for the AP shell. Also buffed. Very, very needed because it was just very, very lacking. However, they also buffed the frontal turret armor. The problem with doing this is that there is a lot of tanks that have around about 310-ish APCR pen. They just cannot pen it frontally when it turns and faces them directly. Because with the E100, you want to turn the turret and, bounce that way. You angle, and because you then know about your angling, you then bounce. If you just sit there and just directly face someone, you die because it's from your own stupidity. It's the same with the mouse. You don't just go and look at someone in a mouse, you angle the turret. But now with this, you could genuinely just look at someone who has around about 310 APCR, and because they're probably going to be lower profile than you as well, they won't pen you anymore. And God forbid you meet an i7 who has 303 APCR, that thing is just never going to pen you, unless you meet the gamer that shot me with AP. But unless you meet him, you're fine. Charge reverse speed also got buffed, but that's absolutely fine. Yep, it's only about 2 degrees, so now it goes 22 degrees a second. Absolutely fine. But I think that this buff is really going to make the E100 a little bit too good. I think that for the vast majority of people, this is going to be better than the mouse now, because you don't need to angle it anymore. Unless you come up against someone with 330, 340 heat, they're going to struggle against you. And what is going to happen when you meet tier 8s? They cannot pen that. So yeah, I think that it's really, really dumb to buff the turret armor on the E100. It was absolutely fine before, and anybody that said that it was weak before just didn't angle it ever. The E75 got a buff due to its stock grind. This is nothing is going to be affected with the top tier E75 or the fully upgraded E75. Everything is just being buffed for the stock grind. And I believe the same thing goes for the Tiger 2 as well. Just making the stock experience a little bit nicer. Type 71, top speed increase. Hull armor increase, which it definitely did need because the hull armor was absolutely awful beforehand. It's still not amazing, but it at least is a little bit better in a hold down environment. You still have the weak spot on the top right of the upper hull though, so keep that in mind. But the dispersion has been decreased quite a bit. This is now going to be insanely accurate. This may even be the most accurate tank if it's in the cooled barrel mode. Because you would have 0.22 base, which means that you would have insane accuracy. Although you may never use it because, again, this is brawling, going on a ridge line, firing as and when you can. So will you ever use it? Maybe not, but 0.38, whack on some equipment, you get that down to maybe like 0.34, 0.32, something like that. So it's not too bad either. The Type 68 also got buffed. Now this is for the stock stuff, and then I believe the 120 is the fully upgraded gun. So yes, this is the fully upgraded gun, which means that it has now got a new accuracy of 0.4 base for the normal gun, or heated, and then 0.24 for the cooled gun. And then the same thing goes for the Type 57, the fully upgraded gun. Again, the same stats as the Tier 9. Moving on to the M5Y. Now this got quite a big buff regarding the 440 alpha damage gun. Because what has basically happened now is both guns have the same DPM. You can now just pick which one you would like. So this is quite good. It opens it up. It allows you to actually choose which gun you would like to use. Would you like to have less of a reload time, lower alpha though? Or would you like to have a bit higher of a reload time with more alpha? It also got an armor penetration buff, which means that it's more in line with the smaller gun as well. I believe it was like 268 for the standard rounds and then 315 for the premium rounds on the small gun. And then with this, you're going to have very similar style penetration with the 120 gun. So this should be quite interesting to see which people choose. Got obviously a reload time reduction because now it's in line with the DPM. The small gun still has slightly more DPM, but it's only slightly. So you can now pick and choose which one you would like. Which, to be honest with you, I wish that more tanks were like this, where you could actually choose which gun you wanted to use, rather than just saying, yeah, that gun's better. Oh, and just throwing it out there, it now gets 12 degrees of gun depression, up from 10. I don't know how it magically has 2 extra degrees, but it has. The M6Y has received a hit point buff, reverse speed buff, and also turret traverse speed buff for both turrets. So whether it's stock or fully upgraded, you would have 1800 on the stock turret and 1900 hit points on the fully upgraded turret, and you have 32 degrees a second on the stock one and 34 degrees a second on the upgraded one. Have they changed the cupolas? No, it still looks like Mickey Mouse, and you can still shoot it there every single time, so it's probably not going to adjust the gameplay too much. Shotguns also received a buff, as you can see here, and then the fully upgraded gun as well, the 120 American-British gun, got a buff, reload time down, dispersion down, much the same as the M5Y, those kind of stats, making it a little bit more competitive. Penetration also got buffed, 10 millimeters of pen added, so you have 253 now for the standard rounds, which is very nice. 310 for the heat rounds. I believe it's heat. Yes, it is indeed heat rounds for the premium round. And just overall, this just makes it nicer to play again. This one, obviously being the tier below, has the 400 alpha damage gun. This isn't 440 alpha. But overall, these gun changes are super nice to see. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this actually does change it. But I don't think you're going to really have too much fun because, yeah, the armor model on this tank is not nice. I mean, look at it. And then the M3Y. This got buffed. It has now got more hit points. 50 more. If that makes a difference, I don't know. Reverse speed got buffed, the same as the other two. And then the turret reverse speed also got buffed no matter which turret you choose. The stock guns got buffed, as you can see here, with the 90mm. And then the fully upgraded 105 gun also got buffed. Again, the same kind of story as the M5Y and the M6Y. It also got gun handling improvements for both the turrets. However, they're at 0.22 for both the movement and rotation, which isn't nice. And then 0.2 for the B variant, which again isn't exactly great, but I guess it's better than it was. So genuinely just nice improvements. And not only that, but the lower tier tanks also have been addressed. So there's been modules that have been just removed because they don't really need to be there in this entire line. So it's been the whole lines have been revamped to try and make the process a lot nicer. And now for the nerfs, which there's only one nerf in this patch, and that is the 60 TP. That's it. It's lost 100 hit points, it's gained a second on the reload time, and it's gone down 0.02 for the dispersion at 100 meters. I'll have to play this tank to see whether or not it's going to be changed, but I definitely don't think it's going to make any difference for Onslaught because it would get a accuracy decrease in that mode, so it's probably just going to stay the same. Ideally, what I would have done with the 60TP was made the underbelly just a complete overmatch for pretty much any gun that it meets. And then that way, you would just not have the random ricochet off the lower plate, because when you aim at the lower plate, it sometimes goes low and then just ricochets off the belly. And also then make where the driver sits a little bit weaker as well. I think that that would have been a nicer change to make it a little bit less annoying to deal with. But sure, nerf the gun and hit points. It worked with the Chief, didn't it? Now, the 50TP is also getting a buff. This is with the stock stuff though, so don't worry. Because yes, the 50TP was already very good. So yeah, the 50TP and the 53TP, they're both getting buffs where they're just making it nicer to play. So the entire line is also getting addressed as well. So making it nicer to play and grind up, which again is very, very nice. So yeah, kind of the nerf. It gets a nerf for the 60TP, but the rest of the line is getting buffed regarding the stock experience. As you can see here, this is in the patch notes for the vehicles that have been adjusted. Look how much stuff has been like removed or just changed with the entire line that we're playing through, that you'll be playing through. Like, there's so much in here that has been addressed. Loads of stuff has been removed from and adjusted from the stock experience. Next up, Onslaught is making a return. It is the season of the Crimson Manticore. Now, there are a few different changes for the average player in particular. I think the biggest change that you're going to notice is that there is an update to the weekly missions. So the average player now does not have to play every single week, at least from what I'm reading from this. Missions no longer expire and remain available for completion throughout the entire season. You can track your active missions progress via the widget in the garage. So this means that there is no longer a need to go in and complete your weekly missions every single week. So you don't have to play Onslaught every week if you don't want to. You could just play for 1 week now, and if you only care about the weekly stuff, you can then just go and do that. Obviously, you would have to do this at the last week because all the other missions would have stacked up. And I'm not sure if you need to log in each week just to kind of say that you're there or whatever, but I would assume no, because it would just stack up. And then as you go through to the last week, then you're there ready to take them all. So that should hopefully help you out if you are just a casual player who doesn't want to play Onslaught but just wants to play it for the weekly missions. You could do it all in 1 week, although you'd probably have to play quite a bit. It's probably still better to play every week, but you don't have to have the pressure of feeling like, I'm not getting this done, I need to do it now because it's Sunday and tomorrow it resets. At least then you don't have that pressure on you. The increased shell resistance reward, which is improved hardening, has been replaced with an improved equipment token, allowing you to select any improved equipment as a reward, which means that you can choose any bond equipment from whatever selection they give you. I'm hoping it's anything. But at the end of the weekly period or the weekly missions, you can then choose which bond equipment you want. You don't get given just bond hardening over and over again like we have done for the last however many seasons of Onslaught. Now, there is also seasonal rewards, which I skipped over briefly at the start, but there are new seasonal rewards, so we'll have to see what they are in-game. The rank restrictions for platoons have been lifted. It is now no longer points-based, it is rank-based. If you meet someone who is a legend and you are a champion, it used to be that if you were just starting out in champion, you wouldn't be able to play with a legend because they would be like 1,000 points difference or something from you. Now, 100%, you can just play. They could be a legend that has 25,000 points and you have like 2,000 points because you just reached champion. They can still play with you, which is really, really nice kind of quality of life and feature to have. Fog of War has been updated, so now you will see the ranks and the nicknames of the enemy team at the start of battle, but you will not see their tanks. Now, this, I hope, will not start dissuading people at the start of the game and just going, oh, it's an instant loss. Because we had this all the time when we had XVM in the game, where players would go in and they would see that there was like some super unicum on the enemy team, and then they would just go, oh, lost game, and then just like not play, right? What happens when we go into a game now and we're in, I don't know, let's say gold, which you could get matched up against legends and champions. What if they have like 2 legends and we have 2 champs or whatever? Like, I hope that it doesn't start like causing this type of issue, where people then just give up before it's even started. Hopefully. We'll see how it goes, though. There is a leaderboard update, and this is written a little bit poorly. It says, now 15% of players who reach champion status will achieve the legend rank, with recalculations every 5 minutes. But I'm pretty sure they mean the top 15% of players, because otherwise, what is it? Just a lottery? Whether you get legend or not? Oh, you have been chosen to be part of the 15%. Congratulations. And you've only just got into champion. I'm pretty sure they mean top. The Onslaught shop access has been changed slightly. You can still get it within the Onslaught kind of tab and everything else, where if you go up to Onslaught, like over here, for example, and then we go and click on the middle bit, and then we'll go to click on the store page, you can still access everything through here. Wonderful. But you can also now go to the store page. You go down to where the Bond store page would be, and then you have Onslaught shop at the top here. So you can click that and quickly go to it, which just is a nice quality of life feature for everybody. There's been a lot of role readjustments, and I'm not going to go into full details because there is quite a bit to it. And there is also the rental vehicles now, which is the E5, the Centurion Action 10, and the Blitzkowitska. The way that you get these rentals, all you have to do is own one tier 10, and you'll have these in your garage. Prokhorovka and Tundra have been added. Outpost has received a significant change apparently, and Redshire was removed for rework. And for those of you wondering when Onslaught is coming out, it is coming out today when this video is released, and it will be ending on February the 24th at midnight, or 1 AM GMT. So technically the 23rd will be your last day to fully play Onslaught. And for the prime times for both EU2 and EU3, it is 9 AM till midnight for the UK. That means, what, 10 AM till 1 AM for Central European. What I'll do is I'll give you this article if you did want to go and look through all the skills that have been changed, because there is quite a fair amount. But I'm not going to go through it in this video because this is more just a quick rundown of what you need to know. This is not so much digging into Onslaught. So this is more just a quick one for everybody wanting to know. For everything else, Arcade Cabinet is coming back with Snowballs and the Ice Age, so you can go, sliding around on the ice, and then we obviously have the Snowball game mode as well, where your tanks are replacing the shells for snowballs. It's a fun little game mode. Usually you can earn some credits as well by just spamming out the battles and not caring about, don't use premium consumables or anything like that, and just spam out the battles, and you should earn a little bit of credits. And also, finally, there is the battle rating system, which after you have played a game of World of Tanks, you will now be able to say whether or not you enjoyed the game with a thumbs up, you didn't care so much with like a sideways thumbs, or it was a 15-3 game and your team did absolutely nothing, and in which case you'll downvote the game. So yeah, not just in spectator mode, but also in the post-battle results, you'll be able to choose that there as well. And then Wargaming, I guess, is going to do something with that information, because why would they implement it otherwise? I don't know. But yes, that is update 1.27.1. Everything you need to know to keep yourself updated with World of Tanks currently. Hopefully it was helpful. I'll see you all later.